never tiring of the intricacies of socket and bone, then lit a cheroot in defense against the fetid air. The local breweries, tanneries, slaughterhouses, and fat-melting establishments smoldered away even in the middle of the night. Looking north, I could make out 5 Points, the Bowery, and the mean area around Greenwich Street that was jammed with immigrants and other unsavory folks. So many Irishmen, Italians, and Germans had crammed themselves below Houston Street that I could all but hear the clang of their knife fights. I avoided visiting that part of town. In fact, whenever possible, I avoided leaving Barnum's museum at all. A man like me had no business in the wider world. Let the outside world come to me, and pay to do it. Catching a whiff of spring blossoms from the west side orchards, I couldn't help but turn to Martina, who sat on my divan, tatting a lace doily to replace the one she'd stained with lamb gravy the week before. Next to her rested a tray of empty dishes from her evening snack, and a pillow she'd embroidered for me years ago with the words, "He who stands with the devil does himself harm." "I told you it was possible to smell the orchards from here, my dear. Come and sniff for yourself."
"All I smell is garbage," Martina answered from her seat. "Come away from the window, Barthy. I've something I want to show you before I leave for the night."
Martina, my friend and frequent companion, had spent the evening with me, as she often did, and I was glad to have her company. She'd been a permanent fixture at the museum for 4 years that spring, having come from Doc Spaulding's floating palace, the great boat circus that barged up and down the Mississippi. Her stage name back then was Annie Angel the Fat Girl, and although she no longer performed under that sobriquet, it suited her well. Martina was as charming as a beautiful child. With her blonde finger curls, alabaster skin, and great blue eyes that gazed out at the world as if she were seeing it for the first time, she resembled a great big porcelain doll. Flip sides of the same coin, we'd taken to each other the first time we met, and our friendship had only grown over the years, in spite of constant taunts from Ricardo the rubber man.
"The woman weighs over 300 pounds, Fortuno, and look at you, a stick figure. I'll bet it slips in like a needle in the haystack."
I was mortified by such crass observations, especially when they were made in front of my lady friend, but everyone knew that Ricardo's taunts had little truth to them. Martina had understood from the beginning that my body was not built for pleasure, and we'd both accepted the limitations of our relationship a long time ago. I liked to think our friendship was stronger because of it. Earlier this evening, I'd spent an hour or so reading aloud from the current installment of Our Mutual Friend in Harper's. Dickens' fine wit made Martina smile, and she giggled like a girl as she put away her lace and then plumped up the pillow on the sofa and tapped the seat next to her.
"Come look at my new discovery,"
she said, digging into her bag and hauling out an oversized book. She flung it onto the low table in front of her, jangling the lamp as it landed.
"It's by the same man who wrote Peter Parley's Tales of America, but this one is about people like us. I hear it goes back hundreds of years."
The book, bound in black cloth and covered with fine embossing and gold letters, was titled Curiosities of Human Nature.
"He illustrates quite well, I think. Wouldn't it be marvelous if someday we wound up in a book like this?"
The leaves of the book crackled as I thumbed through the pages. Martina was right. The woodcuts were of excellent quality. Although I vastly preferred my own books on congenital anomalies, Willem Frohlich's Handbook of Pathological Anatomy, or his more dramatic Tabulae ad illustrandum Embrogenesin hominis et mammalian tam naturalem quam abnormem, Martina's new book was not a bad alternative. Her taste usually tended toward the pictorial. Like most New York ladies, Martina kept an extensive collection of carts, not only of prodigies and wunderkinds, but of famous New York families like the Schermerhorns and the Joneses. But at least she was literate. Martina flipped through the pages of her new treasure one by one.
"It's quite comprehensive.
Look here.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.